Hey, what's up, gang? I hope you're doing well. So I have some specific intel pertaining to this lockout, some specific numbers and real sticking points that they're actually fighting over. I've got some intel over the last 24 hours, and I want to share it with you. Okay? By the way, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you want to be filled in on all the breaking news pertaining to the lockouts, the Yankees, other teams, especially after this thing ends, this is the place to find it. So do not leave without subscribing, okay, and without pressing that bell icon. Also, for those that feel the need to inject certain things into certain videos or whatnot, or especially on my channel, let's leave the politics out of this, okay? Really, it would be greatly appreciated. There's no need to talk about the president who has nothing to do with this, okay? Or socialism and communism, particularly from people who, they might do that on the other channels and don't even have an in-depth understanding what either one of them means, okay? But none of this pertains to tone-deaf people on both sides, okay, fighting over more money. It has nothing to do with it. So let's keep it out of here, please. That would be appreciated. I'm just going to delete the comments, okay? They just don't make any sense, and they have no place here. This is a baseball channel for us to have fun, okay? So with that said, let's get into this, okay? And by the way, if you're ever going to stay with me to the end of the video, this is the one to stay with me, okay? Because I will call out some baloney today. So with that, here's what's going on right now. And I've gotten some reporting from Jeff Passan, even Bob Nightingale from USA Today, and MLBTradeRumors.com as well. So this stuff is credible, it's legit, it's accurate, okay? And I'm looking down, by the way, at my book because I have it written down. I want to make sure I get it right. So with that, so Jeff Passan's already reporting that, you know, MLB is working on some new proposals to bring to the table. Now, I don't know what in the world they've been doing over the last month and how long it takes to adapt a lame-ass proposal, which is what their initial one was. But it should not take that long. They haven't done anything over a month. Now there's players' union, okay? And there is frustration from the player side that the union isn't doing something, you know, doing enough either. So I'm calling out both sides here, okay? Very openly, and I don't care, you know, if they ever see this. So, you know, that's one thing. The other thing is, you know, MLB is trying to determine what the top priorities are for the players in the union. Okay, this one, I mean, I'm just going to say it, ask them, okay? Ask them. Okay, this is where you can establish an open and clear line of communication, be transparent, which there hardly ever is in baseball, you know, hardly ever is in corporate America, okay? They disguise stuff with corporate talk. I'll get into that too, okay? And this is where, you know, you have to know, and this is where the union needs to know where your priorities are too. That way, you have a starting point. This is our ceiling. This is our floor. This is where we're willing to compromise, that big, dirty word, okay? That both sides are going to have to feel like they gave up something to get something, okay? It's good business. The same thing applies with trades, right? You're going to have to give up a healthy prospect package to get a superstar player, okay? It's the same exact application here. Same exact application, okay? So, you know, and okay, so this is where we're going. Some of the stuff that they're talking about is the anti-tanking component that some teams obviously do, tanking to either get high draft picks or maybe even as a tactic to keep their salary, keep the payrolls low or whatever, so that they could take advantage of pocketing revenue-sharing profits from big teams like the Yankees and other teams that they're not required to invest in players or in payroll. This is where I side with the players and owners and stuff like that, especially the large market ones. They should not have to give up parts of their profits for a team is not going to invest that money in players to become more competitive. That's baloney. That's stupid business, okay? Terrible, okay? That's something that the union needs to compromise on, okay? And I know they are against a payroll floor, and I get that too, which the Major League Baseball has proposed. But this is a clearer path to getting to this payroll floor, okay? Making it mandatory for them to use free money to invest in payroll and players to make themselves better. Otherwise, why are you running a team? You shouldn't have a franchise if you're going to keep running this way, okay? It's stupid. Terrible. That's just my opinion on that. Now, on the flip side, you know, the last couple, you know, I mean, the MLB's proposal for the luxury tax threshold, which is now at $210 million, was a sad-ass attempt. So this is where I side with the union, too, and the players, okay? Now, let me get into this first, because this started in 1997, this levels of luxury tax penalties. It started at $51 million. Now we're at $210 million. So that's almost a 400% increase over, you know, those almost 2 decades. So it's been going up like this. At some point, it's going to have to level off. Otherwise, you're going to have $400, $500, $600 million payrolls, and that's never going to happen. Okay, at least in our lifetime. So, and if you understand basic math, knows that that was inevitable. Okay, and the players, so the MLB they offered $214 million for this first level. Okay, and just put this in perspective, the MLB Players Union felt like they have been hosed or been on the losing side of the last two CBAs, which are essentially 5 years in duration. So they're trying to make up for it this time around with the CBA. So they've countered, obviously. So MLB wants $214 million and going up to $220 over the next 5 years as the bottom penalty level, not the top, but the bottom. Okay, that's laughable in my opinion, especially when you have teams like the Yankees and other big market teams swimming in revenues. Don't try to cry poverty here when you guys are swimming in money, okay? Nobody's going to buy that sad-ass excuse. Sorry, it's not going to happen, okay? Especially the fans who know something about this stuff, okay? Now, the Players Union's counterproposal was $245 million, not $240, which I originally thought it was, $245 progressing up to $260 over the next 5 years. Again, the bottom level of luxury tax threshold penalties, okay, where it would be 20% and so on, going up to 55% or whatever it was. Now, that's obviously going to benefit a small amount of teams, mostly the big market teams who have monster payrolls. So it's going to take them longer to start paying penalties. Okay, so that's the counter proposal between the two, and I can understand the logic between both sides, but there's going to have to be some kind of compromise. My guess is they'll get to 230, 225 or something like that. Who knows? But I could see where both sides are, they're fixed into this. They're one side's like, I want more, and the other side, I want more, and it's like, ah! And they're both dug in. It's a pissing match between both sides, where neither one of them wants to compromise. To me, it's bad business because at the end of the day, fans are going to get hosed. Okay? You think fans are going to at some point be okay with paying $50 for a hot dog and a soda because these guys want more? Because people are crying poverty. It's really hard to feel sorry for somebody who's a billionaire crying poverty, or somebody making a shit ton of money, or even some of these higher salaries at the very top, which are obscene. Okay? But the players at the bottom, I agree here, where they should be making more money at the bottom. I can't stand when somebody who's a billionaire saying somebody at the very bottom is making too much. That's a sad argument I've dealt with personally in corporate America, where somebody making 20 times more than I did is telling me I'm overpaid even though I'm the number one sales rep in the entire company. Baloney, save it. I will never find an argument like that credible, okay? Or raising the wage at the bottom. We're going to have to increase prices everywhere. Bullshit, too. Okay, it's the same sad argument that people use, with McDonald's and stuff like that. Well, if you want to pay $1 more for a Big Mac, if we raise the minimum wage, and yet they're giving the CEO a $20 million raise and the prices haven't gone up. Let's stop defending corporate greed, okay? Let's stop doing that because it's not going to trickle down to any of us, ever, okay? It's not going to happen, okay? So with that, I could see the arguments on both sides, but I could also call out both sides because neither one of them is willing to compromise. And again, you have people at the very top who want more and more and more and more and more. And who gets hosed again? The fans. We're going to have to start stuffing our clothes with hot dogs and hoagies and shit like that, and bags of jujubes and Raisinets and whatever else, just to afford to go to a baseball game because we can't afford the ridiculous concessions, right? Because this guy needed to make $50 million a year. Maybe adopt the NBA style, where they cap it at 5-year contracts. But maybe in baseball you go to 6 or 7 years at a higher salary instead of a 10, 12, 13-year deal. Or offer a team opt-out, which I know will never happen. You have player opt-outs, offer a team opt-out, where if you sign somebody to a ridiculous contract and he's not even living up to half of it, you can opt out of that contract. Maybe give it to him once every 5 years. So they're not hamstrung for 12 years with an exorbitant contract, okay, that limits their ability to bring some teams' ability, not all, some teams' ability to bring in other players. This is where I've constantly talked about, instead of giving a guy $40 million, give 4 guys $10 million. More players. Spread the money around more equitably, okay? But that's not what people want to hear, okay? But this is the reality of it, okay? And people might not agree with me, people might agree with me. But let's keep the politics again out of this stuff. No need to start calling each other names. Let's not for this channel. Go to other channels for that stuff, okay? But at the end of the day, both sides are going to have to compromise, okay? This is a fans' game. We pay their bloated salaries. Without us, they can't do any of this stuff. So, and again, I'll finish with this. One of the things that's becoming more apparent is the potential of if this thing keeps going, eating into spring training. Do we remember what happened last time they ate into spring training and had an abbreviated 3-week prep ramp-up period and so that they wouldn't have to delay the season? People got hurt during 2020. People needed Tommy John. Players got hurt. That would be the worst thing to do, to put the players at risk. And those are the people that we go to see. I don't go to games to see Scott Boras, to see owners. I don't even know who the hell owns the Dodgers aside from Magic Johnson. I don't go to the game to look at the Steinbrenners. I go to watch the players as the rest of us do. So you guys let me know what you think. But that's the meat and potatoes of what's going on right now. Those are the major sticking points. Okay. Obviously, other things extended. Getting players to free agency sooner, which I'm a fan of. Again, they're the ones that should be getting the lion's share of this stuff. Okay. The National League DH. I'm not a fan of the robot umpires. I think taking the human element out of the game is ridiculous. And some other obvious things that they're not talking about or being transparent about. So let's get into this. Let me know what you think.